This question here is asking us to do a break-even analysis, and a break-even analysis always starts with the same idea. So let's talk about what it means. So what happens is we will always have some sort of a graph, and we'll be representing the cost of making something and the income that the product brings in. So here we have my axes where my money, or the amount of money that it will either cost to produce or the amount of money you'll earn, will be on the y-axis, and the number of articles will be on the left, on the horizontal axis. So now, anytime I make a product, and I'm going to put this line in red, it will cost me a certain amount of money to set up, so that'll be here, and then every one I make will cost a certain amount of money to make. So my red line will be the cost to make however many products. My green line I'm going to make is the amount of money that comes in, my revenue, for every item I sell. Now, if I have no items that I sell, I won't make any money. But as I sell more and more items, I'm going to make more and more money. And my goal is to get to the point where my revenue exceeds my cost. So I'm going to write that as revenue here. Now, I will always have equations that relate to this. My revenue will always be the number of items I sell times the price of each item. My cost will always refer to my setup plus how much it costs me to make per item, and that's going to have an mx plus c formula. So I will always be using this. My break-even point, as I've said, is where the lines cross. And what I will do is I will therefore go down from the break-even point, and if I make a perfectly vertical line, this point here is the number of products that I need to make to break even. And that's how a break-even analysis always works. So now let's put it to this question. It says a firm sells its product at $20 per unit. So that's the revenue, which is $20 for every unit. Therefore, I'm going to say my revenue equals 20 times n. That's my equation that I get from here. And it says that my cost is given by a rule 4x plus 48, where x is the number of units. So if I want to, rather than write 20x for my number of units, so 20n, I'm going to write 20x, 20 times the number of units. My cost, which is in red on this graph, is 4x plus 48. So now I've got my two equations, one from there and the green one from here. And it asks me to find the value for x, so this means how many units will I need to make for the revenue and the cost to be equal. So how many units for these two to break even, which means I'm really looking for this point here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my two equations up. So they're equal when 20x equals 4x plus 48. And then what I'll do is I'll get out my calculator and I'll solve this for x. So here's my calculator, and I'm going to write 20x equals 4x plus 48. Then I will highlight that, interactive equation, solve for x, okay, and I get an answer that x equals 3. So for this product, I need to make 3 products to break even. That's pretty cheap, pretty unusual, but that's the answer. So what I will write here is find the value for the cost to be equal I'll write cost will equal the revenue when 3 products have been made and sold. And there's my answer for my cost revenue analysis.